What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on Draftkings for Tuesday, February 23rd. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on Draftkings for today's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10, and buckle up, everybody, because the top two are ridiculous. Shake Milton, Aaron Baines, Kevin Huerter, Kyrie Irving, and Giannis rounding out the bottom of my top 10. Giannis on the outside looking in. Who will be the favorites? We got to have this conversation now. There's no value on this slate. Zero. Zilch, nada, none. We got nothing. We don't really have a lot of Q tags that are going to be opening it up. We've got two value plays at the top that are terrifying. Super, super terrifying. They might look a little bit better once we get news. They might not even be plays today if news goes the other way. But for right now, the way that the slate is set up, we need to be making some mildly aggressive bets on value plays that don't seem fun. So let's dive into it. Let's start with the favorites now. Number 5, James Harden, 10-7, point guard eligibility, projected for almost 59 fantasy points. He's in the optimal lineup 17% of the time, just slightly more than Giannis. 37 minutes, 1.59 fantasy points per minute, 30% usage, 29 points, almost 9 boards, almost 10 assists, a steal and a half. A perfect matchup against a bad Sacramento team. Slight pace up spot too for Houston. It's tough to pay up today. That's why we're grabbing these guys at the top end that are going to be really, really cheap and really, really scary. But this is what we're trying to unlock. We're trying to unlock James Harden. We're trying to unlock Giannis Antetokounmpo because these guys have 60-point projections, basically. 70, 80% ceilings, or 80-point ceilings, rather. And if you don't have those when they pop off, you aren't winning that contest. So in order to unlock a James Harden and a Giannis on today's slate, you need to spend a little bit less somewhere else. For example, how about mid-tier value option Anthony Edwards? Shooting guard, small forward eligibility. You guys know how much I love getting someone on guard and forward lines. 5,800, so a complete middle of the pack price tag. Projected for 30, the goal's 42, optimal lineup 18% of the time. He's playing monstrous minutes, 34 in this case. I'm projecting him for 0.89 fantasy points, 24% usage, 17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Slight pace up spot against Milwaukee. Clearly a difficult defensive matchup, but not the same difficult defensive matchup it's been in the past. Look, Anthony Edwards makes lineups work. His salary isn't a problem. Shooting guard, small forward, guard forward utility on a day where we don't have a lot of actual value plays available. Getting someone with positional flexibility is huge. That's why I want to go to Anthony Edwards. Next up, number 3, only point guard eligibility, but let's go to Kemba Walker, 6,400. He's been more of a FanDuel play as of late, but I like this price tag, and his minutes are back up. I'm giving him 32 here, but I think there's a ceiling for more. 36 points, 44 GPP goal, 14% of the time he hits that goal, 20% of the time he's in the optimal. I've got him projected for 1.12 fantasy points per minute. That's 20 points, 5.5 assists, and 3.5 boards. It's a pace neutral spot against Dallas. I'm not really worried about the defensive matchup either against Dallas. What I really just think is that every game that goes by, Kemba Walker is going to be more like Kemba Walker. And if he's not, he's going to end up back on the injury report. There's not really a middle ground to me. He's either going to be good again or not with the team. I'm betting on good again at some point in time. This $6,400 price tag isn't sticking around. He'll be north of 7K within the next week or two. Get in now while you still can. Squeeze out some of that value. All right, this is the first of the ridiculous ones. Number 2, NNAJI. Power forward center eligibility, just 3,100, so $100 above the minimum. Projected for 18.5. The goal's 33. He's in the optimal lineup 22% of the time. NNAJI started the last time out. And if NNAJI starts again at 3,100, he's one of the better value plays on the slate, even though it's not fun. I gave him 26 minutes. He could certainly play more. We could find out he doesn't start, and he will not even be on this list. 0.72 fantasy points per minute. That's not good. That's a pretty terrible performance. 9 points, 5 boards. He doesn't even round up to 1 assist or a steal or a block. It's tough, but no one else that's that's in this price range is playing his kind of minutes today yet. NNAJI will move around today, depending on how news comes out. But if we don't get any news, the way that the slate is set up right now, NNAJI is one of the key pieces that will allow you to get to Harden, to Giannis, to Kyrie. Those guys are going to be tough to find without going to NNAJI. And if he is the starting power forward for the Nuggets today, I'll probably even give him slightly more minutes. Once we know that he is in the starting lineup, this is a value play you will need to have to allow you to do other things. The power forward center eligibility is massive here. The fact that you can get him in that forward spot really helps out from a value perspective. So NNAJI, number 2 contender. Now we got to go to number 1. But before we do, one last reminder, hit the thumbs up. Pow! It helps me out a ton. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and then follow this guy right here, at Josh Engleman on Twitter. It's the only place that you can get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. You don't want to miss out on those things, because if this stuff moves around, the slate is going to change dramatically. If NNAJI doesn't start, all bets are off. This entire list might look a little bit different because you need his salary savings. You also need the salary savings of the number 1 guy that we're going to touch on, and it's not Dennis Smith Jr. Since DSJ was terrible last time out and they gave all the minutes to SABEN Lee, I'm just going to assume that SABEN Lee ends up starting this game. And if he does, point guard eligibility, 3,200, basically the same sort of projection for NNAJI, 19.5 points, optimal lineup 24% of the time. I gave him 27 minutes if he starts. I think that number can also be higher if he starts. So I'm building in a little bit of wiggle room. I expect him to be like a 0.87 guy. That's not where I'm projecting him today. 0.72. So again, in theory, per minute wise, terrible fantasy play. Pace neutral spot in the lowest total game against Orlando. None of these signs look good. 8 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, a steal and a half. Again, these are the only 2 guys that represent solid value plays on this slate. There's no other real way to get to Harden or Giannis or Kyrie or any of these other pay-up options unless you're paying down with at least one of SABEN Lee or NNAJI or potentially Aaron Baines, who is also cheap, saw big minutes against Philly. We're going to need a lot more information. A lot of these teams are on back-to-back, so we needed to get a little bit more. We need to get a starting lineup for the Pistons. You could just be playing Dennis Smith Jr. again, which doesn't seem fun. But SABEN Lee didn't get priced up. He's only 3,200. And if he starts, he's probably the best value play on a slate that's fully devoid of them. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Tuesday, February 23rd. Check out the strategy show with myself and Lofty. That airs at 10 a.m. So if it's not 10 a.m. yet, you should watch it live. If it's been 10 a.m., go watch the archive version on our YouTube channel or download it in podcast form wherever you get your podcast. Good luck, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with the process show at 6:30 a.m. and another edition of the Contenders. Good luck, everybody. I think I said good luck twice, but good luck, good luck, good luck.